And hello, everybody, and welcome to the NYVTmedia Sports Show. I'm your host, Keith Harrington, and our sports show brought to you by Maplewood Ice, the local family-owned business with more than just ice cubes, offers party rentals and carving blocks. Maplewood Ice in Whitehall, New York, and it is the return of the NYVTmedia Sports Show. We've been on hiatus here for a little while, but I'm glad to be back doing the show for you here with, of course, Border Country Sports now, along with NYVTmedia, as we are intertwined now and excited about that. And joining me today is Amber Gibbs. Amber from Granville High School is a cross-country runner and runs track and field on the indoor team during the winter and track and field on the outdoor track and field team for the Golden Horde during the spring. And Amber, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Second time I've had a chance to interview you here recently. Last time I interviewed you, you were being crowned the champion of the Adirondack League. That must have been very exciting. Tell me a little bit about that race. I know the course was a little bit slick that day, but you said it didn't bother you too bad.
The hills were a little slick, but like in the end of it was okay because I ran the course a couple of times throughout my seasons and the years, so I knew it pretty well enough to get through it.
Right, you get a lot of experience on that Queensbury High School course because usually there's a scrimmage there early in the season for all Adirondack League teams.
That got canceled this year.
It got canceled this year, right? And then of course there's usually a Queensbury Invitational meet there. I don't know if you guys went to that, but there's plenty of opportunities to run that course.
Yeah, I think I ran there 3 times this year.
Right. So going back a little bit before we get into all the things you, all the hardware you collected and all the awards you got this year, why running? What made you be a cross-country runner?
I guess in the beginning I tried out for like different sports and had an idea of what I might have wanted to do. But my dad was a runner when he was in high school, and he kind of inspired me to be a runner too. And I think it worked out.
Yeah, you were just telling me a little known secret that you wanted to be a volleyball player.
Yeah, I thought volleyball was going to work out. Did not.
And then you decided, once I tried running, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think you're beyond pretty good at this point, I have to say, with all the things you collected this year. So I know I've gotten to know your parents pretty well over the course. I'm always at the cross-country meets, either working for NYVTmedia or because my son's a cross-country runner, and they're great support. I mean, when Terrence was running in the Adirondack League meet, they were yelling his name and things like that. So obviously they're really into cross-country.
They really enjoy being in our meets.
Do they push you a lot?
They really want me to do well, so they're a big inspiration and very motivational to try and keep me going.
Definitely. Awesome. Good. Well, I enjoyed watching you run this year a lot at all the meets I went to. So starting with the work ethic, I know Terrence is very dedicated, gets up even when nobody else is running in the off season. He's out running in the off season. So what does your off season workout look like?
Well, outdoors track ends in the spring, so that gives me a summer of whatever I do with myself. Sometimes like I'll keep running for a couple of weeks, but then I kind of fall out because it's kind of hard to motivate yourself by yourself. But I pick myself back up about a couple weeks before cross country starts and get a move on things before the season starts to give myself a head start.
Right. And then your parents were telling me that as you got closer to the Adirondack League meet, obviously that was a huge goal for you, and then sectionals and then states. You picked up how many miles you put in a week and things like that.
Yeah. Coming to leagues and sectionals, after practice I would run an extra like 3 or 4 miles, even if we ran like 5 miles in practice, to try and get myself the mileage up for the day and try to get myself a better pace.
Right. A lot of people don't realize that in cross-country running, the races are typically around 3 miles, like a 5K, 3.1. But in practice, you guys run more than that because you want that 3-mile race to look easy, right?
Yeah.
So you run sometimes 4 or 5 miles in practice.
Yeah.
And then hills, do you guys do hills on a regular basis? Because some courses, North Warren, for example, it's like going mountain climbing.
Yeah, that was crazy. I've been there a couple of times, and that hill is never easy.
Yeah.
It gets, I wouldn't say harder, because I definitely had a better time than I did last year on that hill, but you definitely have to train for that one. So before that meet, we usually do hills a couple of times. Right.
My son's coach, Mr. Capone over at Hartford, always says it's like a good training course because if you can run those hills there,
you'll be fine.
You can run anywhere pretty much. So the Adirondack League season, Granville and Whitehall are merged for cross country. So during the regular season, you went undefeated in the regular season in Adirondack League matches against other teams. That must have felt pretty good.
Yeah, it was last year I really wanted to achieve that too, but I couldn't get in front of a girl from Hadley. But we had a really good season competing. So
Right, the girl from Hadley, her name's totally blanking out on me
Yeah.
right now, but she was really, really good. Pretty much, did she win the leagues last year?
yeah, she won the leagues last year.
Yeah, so then this year, probably some of your toughest competition. I don't think you ever went against our girl from Hartford, Bryn Tyler, in the regular season.
No, I did not.
But she was probably number 2 in the league, although finished 3rd in the league meet. And then there was a good young runner, the Savage girl, I think, from Corinth. Corinth Hadley Luzerne. She was tough. Anybody else? The Syvertson girl from Lake George, pretty good. But they're the top contenders, I think, in the league. But
Yeah.
you were beating these people by 2-3 minutes, 4 minutes.
I think, like, I wanted to have more competition in our league. So when I came to sectionals, I feel like that's where it really pushed me. But our league is more like, I don't know, I finally got my chance to, like, have top in it because I
Right.
couldn't get in front of the girl from last year.
Right.
And I definitely had a good recovery from last year because last year did not end good.
Right, that's right. You had an injury. So how was it
Yeah.
coming back from the injury this year?
I had to take last winter off, so I didn't do indoor track. But I spent a lot of that winter training my shin back to normal health so I could have a good cross-country season because I
Right.
really wanted to, like, make it good because it's my junior year.
I just thought of the Luzerne girl's name, Katrin Schreiner,
Oh, yeah.
the Schreiner girl.
Yeah.
The reason I knew that is her dad, and maybe her uncle too, or maybe her mom, were Olympians in Nordic skiing.
Yeah.
So this is why she was such a good athlete. You would expect she'd be a good cross-country runner. I mean, kind of cross-country running, Nordic skiing, kind of similar a little bit as
Yeah,
far as,
it
the way you go over the course. So yeah, she was pretty dominant until she graduated.
Yeah.
So then you get to the Adirondack League meet at Queensbury. We talked about it a little bit, and you pretty much had, I was standing with your parents actually. I think if anybody else had come around to the chute in first place other than you, I think we all would have been pretty shocked at that point.
I think I knew I had that one.
Yeah.
It seems a little egotistic, but, like, I feel like that meet I wasn't worried about that one as much as I was for sectionals that was coming up.
But you told me that night you did look around a little bit to see if anybody was coming.
Because sometimes
Just in case,
on,
right?
like, a part of the course, there's, like, a straightaway, and it's the last straightaway in the course, and, like, you can kind of see the girls behind you, and it looks a little sketchy because then there's only a couple windy parts through the last part of the woods, and then you're straight out into the opening, the finish of it, which is, like, what, 400 meters, maybe not even a
Right.
full lap around a track is
Right.
the finish.
Yep.
Queensbury has a long finish.
Yeah, that chute's long. You're
You
right.
come out of the woods and then it's like long, and then you hit the chute.
Yeah,
around
yeah,
the corner.
right. There's that long run from the woods to the chute, then the chute.
Then the finish.
Yeah, which is quite long in its own right.
You have to, like, pace that out pretty good.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
sectionals. When you come out the woods, I feel like that's when you really have to, like, push yourself.
Right, right. So then the Section 2 meet, which was down, was that SPAC this year? Yeah, SPAC this year, right? Or was
No,
it
they held
Queensbury?
it at
Oh, it's at
Queensbury.
Queensbury this year. It used to be at SPAC.
Yeah.
So I didn't make that one. That's why I was confused. So you finish 5th in the
Fifth.
sectionals. You and I had talked at the end of the league championship race, and I had said, what are your chances of getting to states? And I talked with your coach, and he was like, I think she's got a shot, could go either way. Coach Best was telling me. So, and you finished in the top 5, so you got to qualify for states.
Yeah. That was definitely a big goal of mine. I didn't know if I was going to make it, though, because looking at some of the times of the other girls, I thought I was, like, placed quite behind. But when Coach that day gave me my, seat or where you're going to be ranked, he said I was in 5th. So that gave me a little bit of hope that I was
Right.
going to make it to states.
And it's kind of interesting the way it happens because the winner obviously goes, and then the winning team,
Yeah.
Gets
and
to
then
go.
the next 2 up.
and then the next 2 up,
Because
right?
it happens at the top. Two of the top 5 girls were from Schuylerville.
Probably. They have a good team.
Yeah, I think it was Schuylerville. And you kind of wanted them to win because if I placed 7th, that still would have meant I went.
Oh, right. So, you
So-
had a little cushion there.
I had a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah.
So those 2 got knocked off, and then they took the next 2 up. So that's how, like, 6th and 7th place made it to states
Right,
too.
right.
They gave everyone a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah. So you made it to states. A big goal of yours. Always been a goal of yours. What was the experience like?
When I finished the sectionals and I realized I was going to states, everyone was, like, asking me, they were like, are you going to ride the bus? Are you going to, like, take or go with your parents? And I had no clue what I was doing. And then people told me it's part of the experience. Like, you want to build and take as many memories as you could from
Right.
the event. So I did ride the bus down, and I'd say that was, like, really fun. We had a good time. We stayed in the hotel. We, like, ate the, like, big dinner they had for us, which was really cool.
Yep.
And then we just, we did go to the course before we went to the hotel, which the course that day was rainy and gross, and the course itself was already getting gross. So all of us pretty much knew by tomorrow the course was going to be
not good, right?
Horrible. But when we got to states, you didn't really walk the course because there were people running when I got there. I took the last bus out from the hotel to go to states, but it was definitely nervous because I was really nervous about that course because watching people come off, they were covered in mud. They were gross.
So how do you feel the competition was? What do you need to do maybe to get to that next level? You finished in the 57th rank, 57th, right? So running against the best of the best in the state, what do you think you have to do now that you've seen the competition to take that next step?
Definitely keep in mind of what I was doing towards sectionals, the extra miles a day, and I think I'm going to pick that up for maybe the whole season to give myself a boost because I want to be in the top, better percentage of the race for my class.
Right.
But it was nice to have some competition, there was really good girls there.
Mm-hmm.
Top girls in the country were running there.
Right.
So it was kind of just motivational to get yourself there and have people to push you constantly. There was a girl always in front of me in the race.
Yeah, you're not used to that. That's for sure. Usually nobody in front of you and nobody in back of you either, as far as that goes most of the time. So is it a goal to so that's got to be your goal, right? To get back to states and get just get a higher finish, as you said.
Do better than what I did this year.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll do it with your work ethic and your attitude and the way you take care of your business, as they say. And then it would be great, though, probably in the Adirondack League next year if you had some competition.
I'm really hoping I do, to be honest. I want someone to be, I want to be able to push the girl, be able to motivate her maybe and do it for each other.
Well, that girl from Corinth Hadley Luzerne was coming on strong because she finished second, and I know Bryn had beaten her before, and she finished second in the Adirondack League, and she's only an 8th grader, I think.
That's actually who I sat next to on the bus down to states, and she's impressive. She's, I think, 12 or 13, and she's going to states. So that's amazing for her. So the best thing that could happen to you is she keeps getting better. Yeah. And pushes you in the league. Yeah. Yeah, good. So last question. I know I talked a little bit about this with your parents and talking about my son getting ready to go to college. Do you have goals to go on and run in college? Division I, Division II, Division III? What kind of goals do you have for the future? Well, obviously I'm hoping for Division I, but that's not always a guarantee. But that is a big goal, is to make it to a Division I college. I've been looking into more Niagara University or more places like that, just some bigger D1 schools or even some smaller ones, just to open up my options. But I don't know. I do want to go to college for running. I'm thinking more track though than I am cross country. But yeah. Yeah, we didn't talk about the track much, but I don't know, as I said, that was the last question, but is it an advantage to run the distance events and indoor track? And I know, with my son, we don't have a track team. So he just cross country is it for him. Track team in the Adirondack League. Right. So if he had indoor track and spring track, you run the distance events, obviously. Yeah. So it's got to be a big help over the people who run cross country who don't have track programs. Yeah. I definitely cut down my distance on cross country. The longest I run is the 3,000, which is the longest event you can run in an outdoor track. But I don't run the 3,000 in indoor. I actually stick to more 15 and below. So my mileage and stuff does kind of go down in the winter and track, but it's still definitely helpful to be a distance kid because I feel like it gives you an advantage even if you wanted to sprint. Right. Because you have to train yourself to sprint at an end of a race anyway. Exactly. So exactly. I feel like the endurance of a distance helps a lot no matter what event you're doing. Right, for sure. Well, even though Terrence won't be running next year, I'm hooked on cross country now. I just love the sport. I'd never watched a cross country race in my life until Terrence got into it. And then I started to know you and your family. And I tell you, I'll be there when I can at some of the big meets, especially. I think the big meets are the best to watch. Yeah. Maybe not our dual meets so much. Those are a little laid back and not as big. But invitationals, the Burnt Hills Invitationals, that was one of my favorite to watch. And Grout's a fun one. Yeah, sectionals was amazing to watch. Just watching all the different classes and stuff participate, and definitely states. I've never watched that big of a race. There were thousands of people there, and a lot of other schools I've never heard of or people I've never seen. So it was just fun to watch. Right, for sure. Well, as I said, I'm hooked on the sport now, and even though my son won't be participating, I'll be there as much as I can to check out some of your meets next year because I just love the sport. So it's great. All right. Well, Amber Gibbs, thank you very much for joining me. Thank
and
you.
good luck in indoor.
Thank you.
And in the spring season, I'm sure I'll be writing about you plenty as the coming months as the coming months move along here. And that's going to do it for the NYVTmedia Sports Show for this time around. I'm your host, Keith Harrington. Our show's been brought to you by Maplewood Ice, new sponsor. Glad to have them along. This local family-owned business with more than just ice cubes offers party rentals and carving blocks. Maplewood Ice in Whitehall. Thank you very much for being our sponsor. We appreciate it here at NYVTmedia. Until next time, I'm Keith Harrington with the NYVTmedia Sports Show. So long, everybody.